My name is Nadija. I am 30 years old now. And I want to tell you the story of my past. When I was a young girl, full of dreams and full of purpose. I grew up in a small rice farming village in the north. My father passed away when I was 3 years old, and I didn't remember him at all. We had a small piece of land near our house, just enough for growing vegetables. We didn't have a rice field or a big garden, so we couldn't make much money. In that little garden, we planted tomatoes, eggplants, cucumbers, and some local herbs. My grandmother, with her old and shaky hands, picked the vegetables from the garden and put them in a basket. My mother and I took them to the city and sold them. My sisters and I worked in the rice fields, just like our mother. The rice fields didn't belong to us, and we were paid very little money for working in the paddies. Life was hard. We worked a lot, but we didn't earn much money. I didn't want this life for my future. I always dreamed of different life. I didn't like to spend my whole life working on the farm. I wanted to study and find a better future. But I didn't know what job I really wanted. I didn't know what job I liked or which one was better for me. One day, I thought about being a teacher. The next day, I wanted to be a lawyer. I just knew I didn't want to work in the fields. I wanted to leave the village. Then, something happened. One summer, my grandmother became ill. She was sick, and my mother and I took her to the city hospital. There, I saw doctors and nurses taking care of patients. That was the first time I saw real nurses, real doctors, helping real people. I watched their hands, how helped sick people gently. I looked at them carefully. They were kind, calm, and helpful. The sick people were happy when their pain was gone. You could see happiness and thanks in their eyes. They were thankful to the doctors and nurses. That day, I knew what I wanted to be. A nurse, or maybe a doctor. Someone who helps people. Someone who makes people feel better. I went back to school with a new purpose in my heart. I studied hard and passed high school with great grades. For 1 year, I prepared for the university entrance exam. And finally, I was accepted into the best nursing school in the capital city. I was so happy and proud, it felt like I was flying on the clouds. I was finally leaving the village and moving to a big and modern city. I was going to be a nurse. I was going to make something of my life. At night, I thought about my dreams. One day, I would become a nurse. I imagined myself wearing a white coat, helping patients kindly. They would smile at me and say, "Thank you." I would make good money and could buy everything my family and I needed. Maybe I would even meet a kind man and get married. I was so happy thinking about it that I laughed out loud. My mother and my sisters were happy, but worried. They had never sent a daughter away alone. But I convinced them. I told them. Many girls from villages and other cities also live in the dormitory. Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. I will be fine. My mother, with tears in her eyes, packed my clothes and the things I needed. I went to the train station with my mother and my oldest sister. we bought 3 tickets and traveled to the capital. After I finished registering at the university dormitory, we hugged each other tightly. There were tears in our eyes, and our hearts were full of sadness. It was hard to say goodbye. Then, my mother and sister returned to our village. The city was like another world. There were tall buildings, noisy streets, so many people, and bright lights everywhere. When I stepped into the university for the first time, something inside me said, "You belong here." The classes were difficult. Some students came from rich families and had everything they needed. Their clothes, shoes, and bags were always new and beautiful. I often felt shy and like I didn't belong with them, but every time I walked into the classroom, I could feel all the eyes looking at me. And I often heard them saying, "What a beautiful girl." I studied very hard and got very good marks in my exams. One of my classmates, named Aisha, was very funny and always made everyone laugh. Aisha was also my roommate in the dormitory. She always tried to be close friends with me and would ask, "Why are you so shy? Why don't you talk to any boys or make friends with them?" I wish I were as pretty as you. But I never had a boyfriend, and I knew my family wouldn't agree. So I always made excuses and said, "I want to finish school first." Our practical classes began in the hospital, and we had to stay for night shifts as trainees. Aisha always talked about boys. She told me which doctors were handsome and who liked her. She also said things like, "That man would be a good choice," and that we should be smart to find our future husband here. Slowly, I began to notice these things too, and sometimes I liked talking about them with Aisha. One day, a young doctor named Gabriel came to the hospital for his medical internship. At night, he talked and laughed with Aisha and me. But every time he looked at me, his face changed color, and his behavior became strange. Aisha often told me that Gabriel was not like other men, and that he really liked me. She said I was silly because I didn't see it, and said all the girls wished to marry a doctor, even if he was old and bald, but you ignored such a handsome young doctor. Aisha kept whispering in my ear until I gradually fell in love with Gabriel. I realized that on the nights when Gabriel was not at the hospital, I felt lonely and restless. One night, when we were alone in the hospital ward, Gabriel started asking me personal questions about my life. I told him everything without hiding anything. Gabriel then shared his own life story. He said his parents had divorced when he was a child, and each parent had started a new family. He was treated like a ball, being passed between his mother's new family and his father's new family. Finally, his old aunt, who had never married, agreed to take care of him. After growing up, he swore never talk to his parents or forgive them. His aunt passed away, and now he was alone in the world. After hearing Gabriel's story, I loved him even more and wanted to marry him to feel happy and complete. We told each other we were in love, and Gabriel said he would do everything to make me happy. I was so happy that I felt like I was walking on clouds. But I said I had to ask my mother first. Gabriel said we were adults now and could decide our own future. but I insisted that I must marry according to our customs and traditions. I told Gabriel that he must meet my family and asked to marry me the right way. Gabriel agreed, but suggested, "Let's go together. We are not children anymore. We should be a bit modern." I loved Gabriel so much and was scared of losing him, so I agreed and bought train tickets to my village. I told Aisha and a few friends about it. Aisha kept reminding me, "See, I told you Gabriel loves you. Remember, you owe me this happiness." Some friends told me to be careful. They said, "You don't know him well. Why are you in such a hurry? Wait until the semester is over." But Aisha whispered in my ear, "They are just jealous. They all want to be in your place." Finally, we bought train tickets to go to my family together. Before going to the station, Gabriel said, "I need to get some personal things from my house. Come with me, and then we'll hurry to the station." I went with him. Gabriel said, "Come inside. I'll finish packing my bag in a few minutes." He brought a glass of juice from the fridge for me and said, "Drink this, Nadija. It's very hot today." I was really thirsty, thanked him, and drank all of it. It was cold and sweet with a strawberry flavor. A few minutes later, I felt dizzy and the room started spinning around me. I fainted before I could talk to Gabriel, and everything turned dark. When I woke up, I was in a dark room on a ship. I could hardly remember how I got there. My head hurt badly, and her arms and legs felt heavy. As I looked around, I saw scared faces, young girls, some even younger than me. They were sitting close together out of fear. There was a man at the end of the room with cold eyes and a deep voice. He was staring at us. He had a gun in his hands. "Shut up, all of you," he said angrily, his voice loud like thunder. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry, to ask, why? Why Gabriel did this to me. I remembered the soft way he used to speak, the way he looked into my eyes and told, "I love you." I remembered the dreams I had shared with him, about our future, about going to see me family together. But all of it was a lie. Gabriel never loved me. He only used me, tricked me, and thrown me into the darkest nightmare imaginable. I cried quietly and hugged my knees. I wished I could disappear. I prayed silently, begging God to send someone, anyone, to save us. When I thought about my mother and sisters, hearing the news, I bit my lips and scratched the ground. Days passed, or maybe weeks. I had lost track of time. After a few days, they took us off the ship at night. They told us to be quiet and pushed us into a black van. They took us to a house under the ground. There, they treated us very badly and used us like slaves. They forced us to do things we didn't want. Days and weeks went by, but no one came to help us. One time, I tried to kill myself, but one girl saw me and saved me. After that, they watched me all the time. I couldn't run away, and I couldn't die. I had to live there in pain for 6 years. They moved us at night like ghosts hidden from the world. They moved us from one van to another, and from one place to another. Finally, one night, the police stopped our van. The border officer who checked the vehicle noticed something strange. They noticed the girls were shaking. Their eyes were full of fear, and their silence felt dangerous. The police called for backup. The traffickers got scared. Everything was crazy. Then someone with a strong hand pulled me out of the van. I looked up and saw a policewoman shouting at me in a language I didn't fully understand, but the tone was clear. "You're safe now." It took me a few days to believe it. I was taken to a shelter where they gave me food, clean clothes, and a warm bed. The officers worked with the International Organization for Migration to identify me and help me return home. When they took me back to my country, my family was waiting for me at the airport, and everyone was crying. They thought I was dead. After I was brought back home, my life was not the same anymore. When I got better, my sister told me what happened after I disappeared. She said that after I was lost, they went to the university. My friends told everything about me and Gabriel. They said no one saw Gabriel after that day. My family told the police about him. The police said he is a wanted criminal. Gabriel was not a doctor at all. Each time he uses a new name and fake papers to trick many girls. And he runs away. The police want to catch him. For 2 years, I was under psychological care, taking many medications. The pills made me sleepy and caused me to gain weight. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to go nowhere. I stayed in my room all day alone and quiet. Sometimes I just slept, and sometimes I read books. I started reading stories from around the world. True stories, sad stories, and stories about people who survived. I read books about people who had failed in life but didn't give up. About people who had hard lives but kept trying. People who had fallen to the ground but stood up again with courage and hope. Those books slowly gave me strength. They whispered to my heart, "You are still alive. You still have a mission." I started to dream again, but this time my dream had changed. I no longer wanted to be nurse in a big city. I didn't want the noise, the rush, the tall buildings. I wanted peace. I wanted the silence of the village. I wanted to sit by the window of my little house, with trees outside and birds singing. I wanted to write. I wanted to write books for girls, books to warn them, to protect them, to tell them the truth about this cruel world. I wanted to tell them, do not trust sweet words too easily. I wanted them to be strong, to say no when they feel danger, to read, to learn, to understand the world before stepping into it. That became my new mission. I picked up a pen, opened a notebook, and wrote the first sentence. This book is for every girl who thinks she is alone. You are not alone. Thank you for watching this story. If you liked it, please give it a like. Please, don't forget to subscribe for more English stories. Don't miss the next stories. Let me know in the comments what you think. See you in the next video.